Hello Team FD and welcome back to Sunday Vibes. As you may have been immediately able to notice, not our usual pub. The Rookery having a new door fit. Good luck to the Rookery on that. Not the greatest premise to shoot in there. Bloody freezing today. And not our usual panellists. Instead of Joe, we've subbed in Henry Hill. Joe is actually interviewing Claudio Ranieri. Fair play, that's decent. And instead of Pat, we have Zach Jalab, who is on heavy rotation duty at the moment.
Indeed. Basically a first team player now,
Yeah, so, Pat couldn't be bothered to be here. So I don't want to hear you complain in the comments. We've got a fire topic. We're going to have a fire discussion. Don't want to hear it. Positive vibes only, okay? And before we get into today's episode, Zach, you smell lovely, mate.
Indeed.
And why is that?
I do. Well, actually, after the shoot last week, I took home the Manscaped aftershave,
refined,
and I've been using it. It's a really good, everyday aftershave.
Green with envy over there. Don't worry, Continental Club will get sponsored soon enough. Just keep plugging away, mate. Okay, and if you want 20% off of Manscaped, then use our code on screen right now for free shipping as well. Visit the link in the description and enjoy that refined goodness that Zach is currently emanating. Right, okay, let's get into the main topic. Okay, actually, I want to know how both of you are first, because that was a whirlwind start.
I was going to say, you haven't even asked how I am. This is my first time on Sunday Vibes. Welcome. Either something's got incredibly well for me or something's got incredibly wrong for you guys. And I think maybe that's where
I think like all good things on Football Daily, it's a bit of both. So.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to hear any negativity either about me being here.
There's no Vinicius Junior shouts.
No, it's a dream to be here. What can I say? So yeah, thank you, boys.
Thank you very much. I love that. Anyone that's typed out a negative comment, delete it right now. Look how sweet he is. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, all right. Not bad, thank you. Been feeling better as the week's gone on. Shout out Dulwich Tavern for having us. Should give them a nice little shout out. This is where Continental Club normally shoot as well.
Yeah, can I say thank you? It's like you signed me from a different club. My first game is back at the old the old ground.
Good.
So yeah, you just made me feel comfortable. You plonked us back here.
Oh mate,
so,
just wait till we do FD versus EFD again.
Also,
we're confident we're going to win that, by the way.
A quick note on Zach drinking coffee. He's fast approaching his mid-20s, and look, he's on coffee now. That was totally out of the question 2 or 3 years ago. I'm proud of you, mate. Well done.
Mate.
Anyway, let's get into the question. It does come from @RashRRRR, and he's asked, what January additions could clubs make to ensure a successful season? And I thought to make this more interesting, so we didn't just get sucked into talking about the big sides. I put out another tweet, asking people what they think the biggest January move was going to be. I took probably the 10, 11 most frequently suggested answers, and I thought we could go through them and each pick one each come the end of the show, thus making the title that I picked this week fairly representative of what's in the episode, which doesn't always happen. Okay, let's start with @Levy_AFC suggestion of Kulishevsky to Arsenal. Now, an extremely rare player to start with, a ginger Swedishman. Or Swede, as they're commonly known. And apparently, according to DiMarzio, there's actually legs to this. Arsenal very keen on signing him. And, Juventus need to raise some capital, Henry. So what do you make of this, the chances of it, and the calibre of player that he is? Would he fit in well at Arsenal? Elaborate.
I'm all over this. I think it's a great idea. I think Arsenal, suddenly you're looking at it thinking, they can finish top 4. Like, it is very much on for them to push for a top 4 this season. I think if you said that at the start of the campaign, I think Joe said he predicted them 5th in his table, but not many people would have. I certainly wouldn't have done that. And suddenly you are looking at this and saying, yeah, they can really go for it. I think this is the best defence they've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
And I just think the errors of the last few seasons just appear to be knocked out at the moment. And they've got an opportunity to really push on here. And this is a signing, out of all the things we're going to talk about this episode, I think this is probably one of the more realistic signings, certainly in a January context as well. I think this is great. Like, Allegri clearly doesn't rate him. Allegri's an idiot at this point, but I mean, it is difficult. Obviously, he's 2 assists this season, just 3 league starts. We've covered him quite a lot in our top 10s recently. Kulishevsky's been a bit of a regular on the EFD top 10, but the thing is, like, it's always going to be difficult when you've got Chiesa and Dybala on the wings as well, especially when Allegri seems to persist with playing Rabiot and McKennie on the wings as well at times. It's different.
Incomprehensible, McKennie on the wing, but there we go.
So people go, why isn't he being played more? Well, it is difficult. He's got a lot of competition there. I do think someone like Arsenal with Arteta, who is obviously championing younger players a bit more at the moment. What is he, 22? I think this would be perfect for him. He's clearly got it in his locker to do well. He did that at Parma, like 10 goals, 8 assists. He's very good when he plays for the Swedish national side as well. He scored some pretty awesome goals. The Coppa Italia final, if you saw that against Atalanta. He needs someone who's just going to give him a bit of love. I don't think the stressful situation at Juventus is so difficult at the moment that we're seeing a lot of big players really struggling to succeed there. There's not much identity to that squad exactly. You never know who they're going to put out at the moment. I think it'd be perfect if you look at some of the signings under Arteta recently, Odegaard, even Lokonga. He would slot in perfectly in that system. He doesn't have to like set the world alight, but the thing about Arsenal is everyone at the moment is performing to about a 7 out of 10. And I think that is their strength at the moment. You've got a few players like Smith Rowe and Saka who are obviously going above and beyond. Yeah. But the point is that everyone is doing their bits. The mistakes have been cut out. And for that reason alone, they're really getting results where previous seasons they've been really struggling. And I think if he went in there, 5 goals, 5 assists to the end of the season, it could be perfect. And I actually think Juventus would be stupid not to maybe entertain a Pepe swap deal, because I think Pepe would do much better over that way. That's been talked about, but apparently they want money to go and
bid for Vlahovic. Yeah,
try and buy someone else from an Italian club, which seems to be their only
Surprise.
Yeah, that's their only tactic for reducing the competition in the league. But yeah, I think Kulusevski would be much happier at Arsenal, and I'd love to see that swap deal happen potentially.
Well, I was going to say with Arsenal as well, their recent transfers, you have to actually, when you look back and sit back at them, when you sit back and look at them, they've all gone pretty well. Yeah. They've been quite
especially the summer just gone. Yeah,
done. Like Ben White's been fantastic when he's been playing. Gabriel, I know that was last season. He's been brilliant. The fullback Tavares, he's been pretty good when he started.
Shouldn't start over Tierney, but whatever.
Yeah, but I think he's also come back from injury as well. Like I think they've got to be careful with Tierney and his injury record. And so if they're targeting him, like I feel like it would go.
It's in
pretty
keeping
well.
with the players
Even
they've signed so far.
Right?
Yeah,
Aaron Ramsdale, no Arsenal fan wanted
crazy.
him, and now he's been fantastic since he's been playing in goal, and he's the first choice keeper now over Leno. So I think it sounds pretty good. Like both parties would be pretty happy with the deal.
Yeah, it'd just be quite interesting to see where he plays, because at the moment, obviously, we have Smith Rowe and Saka flanking Odegaard. Odegaard has probably been the less impressive acquisition when we look at them as a whole from their summer just gone. So maybe Smith Rowe goes back to 10, Kulusevski goes out to the left or right. He's a left-footed right winger, isn't he? Which is quite unique in a sense. He's a bit of a throwback to Ian Robin and seems to have styled his entire game around him as well. He's just finesse central. Yeah, lovely, like crisp passer. Not a trickster, but has that like burst of speed, has that acceleration to get to the byline. I mean, Saka's very tactically versatile, isn't he? So yeah, you could have Saka on the left, Kulusevski on the right, and maybe Odegaard only coming back into the team if he proves his worth, which he hasn't at current. But
he can drop a bit deeper. He can drop into that kind of 2-man midfield with Lokonga or maybe Xhaka. Yeah, he can play a little bit deeper. He doesn't have to be in that number 10 position. I think if you look at Sociedad, he wasn't always the main creator there. So that is like an option. But I agree with you, Odegaard, I don't think he's done enough to justify always being started. And Kulusevski did go, and I think slotting on the right side of that midfield, if Pepe does go this January, which they're saying 25 million or something like that, that's what they're after for him at the moment, which...
Was it 70 million they spent?
Oh, listen, I don't think you have to worry about that too much. That was just a stupid fee. They should never pay for that anyway.
I mean, putting Odegaard in that too, if they are playing the 4-2-3-1, would be brave. I imagine they'd only be doing that against teams in the bottom 5, and we can see from Arteta's like recent history, if in doubt, he chooses solidity, doesn't he? He's quite conservative at the moment, so perhaps that would be a brave shout. But I really like Kulusevski. Tottenham were another interested side. We thought that Tottenham might get a steal on Arsenal in this sense because, of course, they've got Paratici as the sporting director. Yeah. Conte has a big pull when it comes to Italian football. So we'll see. Like a battle might emerge for his signature, and apparently he's available for 30-odd mil.
Yeah, apparently Tottenham want...
The downside is very small here, Henry.
Apparently Tottenham want Perisic, which is just like a classic Conte signing, 32 years
old. And he'll be sick at fullback.
It was all, no, listen, Kulusevski, I genuinely think this is going to happen. Obviously, like Kroenke's been saying that there is money available. They're going to get money. I think they'll sell Nketiah, won't they? They should probably try and shift a few of those other sort of fringe players.
Well, Nketiah today said he's not signing a new contract. Yeah. Today it's a Thursday. We normally film Friday. Don't get your knickers in a twist about it.
I like how we've heavily attacked the audience who haven't actually done anything. So
we've been at them the whole episode.
Gone on the front foot this episode.
It's been a long day.
So we think this is fairly realistic. We like it. I imagine we'll come back to this when we say, here's a transfer that we think is going to happen in January. And for all the right reasons, because they don't necessarily go that way, do they, in the winter window? Let's move on to my LXS MUFC's suggestion then. And he's gone for Haidara to Manchester United. Now, according to Eurosport, I don't know how credible they are, Manchester United's new boss, Ralph Rangnick, wants Haidara and Nkunku. I thought I'd begin by just shutting down the Nkunku rumours because what Manchester United don't need is another winger come attacking midfielder. And Nkunku has been brilliant this season. 9 goals and assists in the Bundesliga. He's been even better in the Champions League. I think it's 8 goals and assists in 5 Champions League starts. But Manchester United have Rashford on the left, as we know, Bruno Fernandes, Greenwood, Sancho. That's not an area they're going to spend money on, albeit he is a very good player. Yeah. Now, Haidara feels far more realistic. And, I'm nominating you, our RB Leipzig specialist here, because you may have watched, a game in the last 2 weeks. What do you make of it?
I don't like it. Not a fan.
Nice.
Listen, he's a good player.
Divisive.
I think if Pogba goes, then there's more of a vacancy for that style of player. But he's at his best. Obviously, he's a great presser. He's that kind of high energy player, box to box midfielder. He's at his best really when he's in the final third. His work around the opposition penalty box is pretty impressive. His little short passes, incisions, whatever you want to call them. But I'm not sure. They just need a central defensive midfielder. That's the point.
Yeah.
I've sat and filmed this and watched you guys say it about 35 times. It's not rocket science. I get the thinking behind it. Obviously,
Does it not just feel a little bit like lazy journalism? Where it's just like Ralph took him to Salzburg and then he took him to RB Leipzig. And so, now he's at United. He's going to bring him to Manchester United.
They've got the 2 squad lists from Salzburg and
who's
Leipzig.
the DM? Who plays kind of central midfield?
He'll do. Yeah. He looks good. And don't get me wrong, Haidara is a great player, and I don't think is there a release clause in his contract?
£30 million, yeah.
Because Leipzig can't really afford to sell anyone at the moment. If you look at, they're doing
not their great progress in the Bundesliga this season, have they?
No, their form is they'll win one, lose one, win one, lose one at the moment. I think they're 8th at the moment. I really don't think that selling is their prerogative this January at all, and I certainly don't think Man United's main intention should be to go and sign a player like Haidara, unless Pogba leaves, which fingers crossed happens. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you're right. We have spoke about defensive midfielders to death on this show, to the point where the phrase "lights out defensive midfielder" has become a reflex. Yeah. And we've gone to Wilfred Ndidi, we've gone to Tchouaméni, we've been like, these are the guys they should sign. But Haidara. And I agree to an extent, but he can be a defensive midfielder. He has been a defensive midfielder in the past, is being used in a bit more of a box-to-box capacity now, and is excelling in that role.
How old is he now?
So, 23.
So you can still coached into a very decent...
He's put up 5-6 tackles a game in the Champions League. In previous seasons when he's not played as many minutes, so it's maybe skewed his numbers somewhat. He has put up between 4 and 5 tackles and interceptions per game, which is something you want as a ball-dominant side like Manchester United. They're the sort of numbers a player has to be hitting to justify that position at the base of midfield. But, like Henry said, a lot of his good work has been done in the final third this season and in the last 18 months. I think it's 3 shot-creating actions. Yeah. He's having 2 shots per night himself. They're not the numbers of someone that is going to be happy sitting at the base of midfield.
If they can't go and get a central defensive midfielder this January, which is going to be very, very hard because 1, you've got the January tax, 2, everyone knows you're after a central defensive midfielder, and 3, you're Manchester United, which is costing minimum £60 million or something for a fantastic CDM, then I think Haidara for £30 million is not bad, especially when, for 6 months he may play that position, then in the future, and again, he may not be amazing and light it up every single game, but he'll do a good job in that position. If for the future Pogba leaves, he doesn't sign a new contract, you've got someone that can play that position, and then in the summer you can target that proper central defensive midfielder. Yeah. I don't think it's the worst for £30 million.
I've got a pitch for you. What would you say to this? Because I think that Manchester United under Rangnick, when they learn Rangnick under him, when they've been taught how to press coherently and as a team unit, they're going to be less reliable on one outstanding defensive midfielder because everyone will be able to defend in a slightly more compact, better fashion. So maybe Wilfred Ndidi won't be needed. And if you have Fred and Haidara, who are really intense pressers, Haidara is really good at progressing the ball, isn't he, carrying the ball, then maybe there will be less need, like you just kind of intimated there, to go and spend 80-90 million pounds on a banging defensive midfielder.
You have to... So apparently he's been given £100 million transfer budget. That's what we're hearing. He's only the manager for 6 months. Yeah. 3 of those, he's not going to be when he starts, he's going to have a game twice a week. The idea that he's just going to suddenly coach them into sort of success is a lie. And it's silly to think otherwise. It's the signings he makes now. Are these Rangnick signings or are these long-term ideas? Because if a new coach is coming in, it is quite confusing, the transfer policy at the moment, for him to go and pluck a load of players, which he's only going to be managing for. I mean, I genuinely think if they're looking for a central defensive midfielder, someone like Dennis Zakaria,
Banger.
Wants to leave.
He's injured every other week.
Mönchengladbach. Just at least someone that can go in there.
He's been
and
linked with Roma as well.
Yeah, go in there as well. He won't be too expensive. It's just a bit of a confusing transfer because are these being bought in for the coach or are they being bought in for the club?
Like, surely, if he's going into this consultancy role afterwards, right, then the transfers he's always going to have a say on anyway, and his idea or maybe the way that Manchester United are going to start playing their football will be in line with the new coach that comes in, and so you think that. Okay, I completely understand that he's not going to be coaching them for a year's time or in a year's time, whatever it may be. But he's still going to be having a say in whatever signing comes in.
It does muddy the waters that he's only being referred to as, or will be a consultant rather than a sporting director of football or whatnot, because maybe they don't want to give away too much, and maybe he is going to have far more influence over the next 18 months, 2 years than we're being told. But either way, I mean, I quite like this.
For 30 million quid as well.
Yeah, Manchester United struggle, we've said, for quite some time to get the ball from defence to their talented attackers, and Haidara is an excellent ball progressor. Fourth for central midfielders for progressive passes this season, and fourth in terms of successful dribbles. So
I think, who was the last £30 million signing Manchester United even made? Like, they spend so much money on
Are you saying that's quite smart? That's quite low key.
Like it's a really good, smart signing. Like it's not necessarily the biggest loss. Like, okay, worst comes to worst.
No, I agree with you.
2 years time, he's 24, he's 25, however old. You might want to sell him on. You're probably making your money back.
Matic is still at the club.
Matters now sporting director.
Let's move on then to Ziad versus Zeta's suggestion of Raheem Sterling to Arsenal, which you kind of sounded out a second ago. What do you make of this?
I don't quite understand the thought of Raheem Sterling moving to Arsenal. Like, Raheem Sterling is a fantastic winger, one of the best in his position in the world, personally. We see it week in, week out when, okay, he's had a recent tough time, but I think that's not down to him playing poorly. I think that's more just something happened behind the scenes between him and Pep Guardiola. And so recently we've seen him playing again. We're starting to see the best of him. He's only 26 years old. I think he recently soon turns 27. So just about to hit his peak years. And he's then going to go spend them at Arsenal. Like, that's nothing against Arsenal, but Arsenal right now are building a project, right? They're building a team. And okay, if you can get Raheem Sterling from an Arsenal point of view, get him in 100%. But I just don't see, from Sterling's point of view, why you'd move to Arsenal. I've also seen the figure, something about £45 million. If it's £45 million Raheem Sterling, every club in the world should be trying to get his signature.
That's because he's said he's not keen on signing a new contract, and talks have broken down. Yeah. So that's gonna bring his price right down, isn't it? But I think his contract expires at the end of 2023, so they've got a little bit of time. Do you think 45 million is a fair price? Do you think it feels like a departure is likely, but maybe Arsenal aren't the likeliest destination? So he said to the Financial Times, and it was quite weird that they broke this news.
Yeah, very weird.
That he would like to try his luck abroad. Now, Barcelona then quickly became what was perceived like as a reasonable destination, but a lot of stuff has happened since then, and Xavi has come in and wants to do a proper audit of the club, he said, before any signings are made. And I can't see where they're pulling 45 million out their asses from, considering they're 1.5 billion pounds in debt, and his wages aren't going to be small, are they? So what do you make of this whole scenario?
I don't think that, even with the contracts and this refusing to sign, I don't think Pep would want to let him go. I think first and foremost, I think relative to someone like Ferran Torres, who's in the news a lot at the moment, I think he'd be more, in a funny way, more inclined to let Torres go, because Sterling's been there, he's done that, he's contributed a lot to this City side.
He's like top three wingers, right?
Yeah, he's been unbelievable, and I think he'd rather just at least have it, because he's a committed professional. That's one thing you can always say about Sterling, irrelevant of where his head's at, he's always committed and performs, so I think they'd rather have him around. To Arsenal, obviously if Arsenal had the opportunity to buy him, by all means, Kulusevski's nothing on Sterling. I mean that politely. They should go. So I'm sorry, I can't see this.
Yeah.
In January as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see it happening at all. I mean, I see Real Madrid go for someone like Sterling.
But also, Sterling has said recently about how he wants to continue playing in the elite competitions, trying to win as many trophies as possible, and again, in a couple of years' time, that may be possible for Arsenal, right? They may get back into the Champions League possibly this season, next season. But if you want to continue doing that, trying to win the Premier League, that's about 4 years away or 3 years away, possibly, unless there's a drastic change or some of the players go leaps and bounds ahead of where they may be right now. I just don't get it. I can also see maybe a different club, but I'd be very, very surprised. If I'm Liverpool right now, I'd be maybe trying to get him back.
There's not a world in which City sell anyone to Liverpool.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But maybe that contract ends,
I mean, City, if we're going to play devil's advocate here, have been a little bit more inclined to part ways with players who have said, in recent years, who have said they don't want to be there. Sane, Angelino, Brahim Diaz, as soon as they've kind of dropped that line as I see my future elsewhere, City have been pretty militant
none of them are the level, maybe Sane. None of them have been,
no, not even Sane. Like Sane,
yeah.
Raheem Sterling's consistency at Manchester City has been frightening, and his numbers have dropped year on year for 3 years. And part of me thinks wingers do experience their prime a little bit earlier than most other positions. At 27, if they can get a decent fee for him, do you back Manchester City to go out and spend that wisely and it not really affect their overall success? Yeah. Perhaps, but from an individual perspective, is it the right move for Sterling? No. Would I like him to go and crush it abroad? Absolutely. And if Arsenal are buying Kulusevski, what are they going to be, just unbelievable in wide areas and just persist with just Thomas Partey? Lokonga's been sick, to be fair, at the base of midfield. Anyway, let's move on because I think we've kind of poo-pooed that a little bit. This one's even shitter, but thank you for sending your suggestion in at KJJJ Knows Ball, Werner to Manchester United. Now, this feels like what you mentioned earlier, where it's just who's been with Ralph a couple of...
Yeah, I mean, they don't need a striker. They've got loads of players that like shooting anyway. They also don't need a shit striker.
Oh, wow.
That's probably
2 to 3 years of us bigging him up on Euro Football Daily. You've just tore it down, my friend.
No, listen, I think he needs to change of scene. I'd love to see him go back to Germany or just go somewhere where he can rediscover a bit of form and confidence. I certainly don't think that's Man United. And once again, I don't think the era of those guys doing business between each other with a player who could potentially reach another level doesn't happen. You can see it maybe with a player who's a bit older, etc. But yeah, no, I can't see it happening. Although I would like to see Werner move on elsewhere, and because it's quite clear that Chelsea are a better side. His work off the ball is actually still quite impressive. I think the runs that he does and the way that he draws defenders away and creates space for other players is still impressive. Just his goal scoring record is abysmal at the moment, and yeah, I'd like to see him move elsewhere. Manchester United is not the answer.
And some high-profile misses actually overshadowing a goal contribution kind of every other game last season, in terms of goals and assists. 23, he's not been as bad as people have made out, but has just dropped far too many clangers. Corin, what do you make of this as a Chelsea fan then?
I don't see it happening at all. I don't see Chelsea, especially now that Ralph Rangnick's moved there, I don't see Chelsea United doing any business at all. There's no way Chelsea let a player who, again, may have the potential to do well, is not going to reach the levels of Mohamed Salah or Lukaku when we let him go, or Kevin De Bruyne, and risk that chance of him then doing that at a rival in the Premier League, and which could cost us dearly in whether that be the title or the top
might have let him go if it was Ollie at the helm. Just be like, he'll use it incorrectly.
Exactly.
Fine.
But yeah, again, kind of that same thing. They've seen Ralph brought him to RB Leipzig and that same link. It's a weird one. I actually kind of think Chelsea in the summer may sell a few of their forward assets. They've got Conor Gallagher ripping up at Crystal Palace. I don't know whether they're going to keep him or sell him. Hakim Ziyech, to be fair, recently has been on good form.
He was the easy sell about 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Now he's playing
but
well.
Now Callum Hudson-Odoi been back in the fold. I mean, as you said, Timo Werner. So it does feel like there's one or maybe two attacking players that may leave Chelsea in the summer. And Werner could well be one of them. I wouldn't be shocked if Bayern Munich just came in and were like, here's 35 million.
My favourite rumour I've seen is that Genoa want Christian Pulisic. It's their record transfer fee is about £2 million.
It's a tough one with Pulisic, man. He again is a guy that could theoretically be sold, but he's another player that has the potential to be so good.
He's been quality
his
every
injury
time.
Record, it's every time he gets to that point where he's played a couple of games, 4 games now, where he's been very, very good in all of them.
How about your club just focus and maximise the potential of 2 to 3 wingers and stop stockpiling really good young players? I'm bored of it.
Yeah, I doubt that's going to happen. I think we'll continue.
I just think Timo Werner, if he stepped out of Chelsea, he'd be stepping into a very similar situation at Manchester United. He's got a world-class number 9 in front of him in Ronaldo, as he has with Lukaku.
He needs a system that suits him as well. Neither of those.
There's wingers that need to play at Manchester United: Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho. Yeah. So again, it's a very similar situation to Havertz, Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's not. Yeah. He's no better than them on his best day at the moment.
Cavani would be ahead of him as well.
Yeah. United. And United are going on banging on about spending £63 million on Haaland when he's available in the summer.
Never.
Why would
he will press though? He will press.
He'll press like hell. On the subject of pressing like hell, I've included a Celtic one. All right? And I expect the average view duration here to drop, but I don't care. And it is Man Utd from the J-League. 25 goal contributions in 32 J-League starts. So... Do you want to talk about him?
Well, the police they've just
that was very tiny, wasn't
like,
it?
you know what? Wrap it up.
That was. I actually wanted to use this section to ask you. No, I'll speak about Celtic till I go red in the face, and you can follow the progress of this on my Twitter feed. But I wanted to ask you, take this opportunity, say, is there anyone that's exciting you that Fulham have been linked with? Because let's just dip into our clubs for a moment here and ignore the big boys.
The thing about Fulham is, we obviously bought Harry Wilson for about £12 million.
Scored a free kick, didn't he?
He's all right, you know what? He's a good player. I actually think the biggest priority for Fulham is tying up. Apparently, a lot of clubs are looking at Mitrovic again. A lot of teams are quite interested. They reckon they can get him for 20, 25 million. Don't want that to happen. But then Fabio Carvalho, I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah,
he was good last. He was okay in the Premier League.
No, he's so good. He's so good. I watched him live the other day. He's really, really special. And he's claiming he's changing agents in January and he's refusing to sign a new deal.
How long's his contract?
It ends this summer.
Oh, he's gone.
So,
he's gone.
No, but I don't know why. There are so many bad examples.
He's gone to Wolves.
Sessegnon gone. But there's this attacking midfielder from Angers called Frengouli, I think, who he scored 2 and assisted 2 this season. Who
Angers are very good at producing young talent.
That is the only rumour I've seen. So I've not seen any exciting incoming rumours. But outgoing, I'm just praying we hold on to Carvalho.
Do you think he's going to go back up?
Fulham?
Yeah.
All the way, mate. This is the year. This
Through
is the year we go up and stay up.
Promotion or
yeah, I
playoffs?
hope so. As much as I've enjoyed the playoffs the last few seasons, it's not.
And then Marco Silva gets sacked within 3 months of Premier League football.
Well, listen, you showed an aversion to talking about Celtic then, but I saw on Continental Club 3-4 weeks ago maybe, Kyogo was sounded out as one of the most underrated signings.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a good player.
I mean, he cost us 4.9. I imagine Man Utd would be the same, but like, what would Kyogo cost a Premier League club now? Like 15, 20 at the very minimum. So I feel like, I mean, this Man Utd is valued at 990k on Transfermarkt. We know Transfermarkt's valuations are an absolute mess outside of Europe's top 5 leagues.
Your manager knows manager knows the J League pretty well. It's always been a pretty good producer of talent. It's not something to be sniffed at.
I expect this guy to be ripping it up at Southampton in 2 years. I'm telling you right now.
Chris, I can't say I've seen a lot of his games recently, but yeah, it'll be pretty good.
Right, let's move on then to Ferran Torres, who you mentioned earlier. Now, according to Spanish publication Sport, Barca have set a £40 million limit on how much they'll spend when it comes to Ferran Torres, which feels very ambitious. Man City have said they're looking for 70 minimum. Of course, he signed a 5-year contract 18 months ago. They got him for £21 million then, which felt like the time to buy him when Valencia were in financial crisis. And, since then, he's won the Spanish international team's player of the year. So his stock in many ways, despite having been injured with a metatarsal injury since mid-October, has never been higher. Like, he was great for City as a number 9 for like a month and a half, wasn't he? So this feels like a player City would part with, like you said in the Sterling section, but not for the amount being bandied about now.
I'm loving this tactic from Barcelona, which is sorting everything out with the player first. And going to club, he really wants to join us.
He doesn't want to be with you anymore, mate.
Yeah, we've already talked to him. It's like, all right, well,
pay me.
Show the money. I'm not sure they have it. I prefer this to the Dani Olmo rumours that we saw. I think this is a kind of, I mean, it's a great addition. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm not surprised the player would want to go there. It is actually irrelevant of what you say about Barcelona. It'll always be an exciting proposition to go and join them. The fact that he can play at centre forward as well is another huge perk for Barca. Fati getting injured quite a lot, and obviously Luke de Jong not really working out. It's just, I mean, he's still got 3.5 years of a 5-year contract to run.
He's 21, yeah.
21. City have no reason to just kind of do what they did with the Sane situation and maybe accept a little less than they'd originally had in mind. There's no reason for them to do that. But who knows about Barcelona's finances? If they can get some kind of loan deal sorted out, I think that maybe could be good. But yeah, I cannot see this happening.
I feel like this is an aversion. It's like a compulsion. Like our last great side with Xavi in it had like 7 of the national side in it, 8 of the national side. And now Luis Enrique is obviously rebuilding Spain with young players that are prominent at Barcelona. Ansu Fati, Pedri, Gavi, Eric Garcia. And they've just been like the hierarchy.
But I mean, Eric Garcia has been wanked.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing right back against Villarreal and he was dog. But the hierarchy at Barca have been like, he's Spanish Player of the Year. We need to sign him. This is how we get back to the very top. I reckon that was exactly the conversation that was had, to be honest.
Mate, it feels like Laporte has no idea what's going on. Everything he says, the opposite happens. He said he'd get Messi to sign a new contract. The opposite happened. He left. He says that, we're not going to be hit by this huge financial crisis. A financial crisis happens.
The Super League has to happen. Doesn't happen.
Like, it feels like he just doesn't know what's happening over at Barcelona. And you mentioned the Dani Olmo thing, right? Like, he was a La Masia graduate who they let go of, and now they're going to have to go spend so much money to go bring him back. It's such it's continued mess there, and they've finally gone, okay, we've brought back a legend in Xavi. Everything's going to be okay again. His first couple of games were okay. There weren't anything to be applauded for, to be quite honest. And I understand the idea of, okay, bringing in an exciting young talent like Ferran Torres is, and you can do all the dodgy tactics you want in the world by agreeing with the agent and literally agreeing with the player. The player wants to join. That's absolutely fine. But you've got to understand in football, and they do understand. They're a fucking professional football club. Of course they get it. They're one of the biggest in the world. But you can't just like go to City and be like, hey, we only want to pay you 40 mil. We're not going to pay you anymore. And City are just going to go, okay, like, we'll keep him then.
So good.
What a shame, we'll keep him.
He's so good at distancing himself from this sort of stuff as well. It's just like, well, I don't really care about this stuff. Just speak to Begristan. Begristan's just like, I'm a spectre. Like, he's just never in interviews.
And realistically, Torres isn't going to be that bothered at staying at Manchester City.
Yeah,
I'll win another Premier League. I'll still play 20 games. I'll be managed by Pep Guardiola. I'll play with Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. What a shame. And then maybe after a year, he's like, actually, I love it here. I'm playing every single week now and I'm not getting injured. It could easily change. I don't know, man. Like, just Barcelona and their financial situation, they just keep going. I even read a rumor that they were like, oh yeah, Memphis Depay might be sold in January.
The fact that City bought him for 20 million in the first place is still
staggering.
Really,
how no one else was linked with that or got wind that
so Pep Guardiola factor, I think, as well.
That is one of the best transfers you'll see for a long, long time. If you just look at the easy return, they're going to get
doubled it like instantly, if not tripled. And you look at the Harry Kane deal in the summer, and they were quite clearly willing to let Raheem go, Sterling as a part exchange, Gabriel Jesus. But Ferran Torres was never included in that conversation, which is quite telling in terms of how they rank him in-house. Right, let's move on to the next segment then. Won it twice, said Koundé to Chelsea. Now, we've spoken about this before, so I spent too much time on it. But Zach, is this going to happen in January? Obviously, a lot of contract situation with your defenders up in the air.
Yeah, definitely not in January. Obviously, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta, all their contracts run up at the end of this year. The Christensen one actually took a bit of a weird turn recently. It was apparently Chelsea and Christensen's agents and everything believed they had a deal to be set and done, and then they came back at the very end and were like, actually, we want to change this slightly because apparently Barcelona got involved, allegedly talking to the agents or whatever. Then they redone it. Apparently, it was set to be agreed, and it happened again. And then Thomas Tuchel came out recently and was like, and it's crazy because Thomas Tuchel's never really been like this to kind of essentially be the client, like the club's mouthpiece per se, but came out and was like, look, yeah, this deal hopefully gets done soon. If it's part of the reason why I've not been playing Christensen recently, so much going on behind the scenes and all this, and then he played against Watford straight afterwards. So maybe it's close to being done. I think he'll sign. The big one is obviously Rudiger. And my worry with that is, okay, if say Rudiger does leave, I don't know if Koundé is the right is the right defender to play that left centre back role. He's not left-footed, which maybe is the kind of defender that you need to get in there. Rudiger isn't left-footed, but Rudiger's ability with his weak foot and what he does on his right foot makes up for it. The second goal against Watford comes from his right foot and some great play.
You were lucky to win against Watford, by the way.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, we got absolutely slapped. Fair play to him. Emmanuel Dennis will not be at Watford in the summer at all.
They'll have to go down.
But yeah, no, look, as for Koundé, Koundé was really wanted the Chelsea move, unsurprisingly. He get paid a lot more money competing in one of the best teams in Europe. But I just don't think it's going to happen, especially with the arrival of Trevor Chalobah. And Ethan Ampadu's been doing pretty well over in Venezia too, apart from that red card that shouldn't have been a red. And so I just don't know whether Chelsea will be willing to spend the money that maybe, it might have dropped down because it'll be a couple of months less, but still, I don't know whether they'll be willing to spend 60 odd million in January on a centre back they don't necessarily need right now. come the summer,
Yeah.
maybe it changes.
I mean, you've just conceded your first away goal this season. What that says to me is that you don't need to go balls out for a defender in the January window.
Yeah.
When you just said left-footed centre-half then, do you know he's been playing unbelievably well? This is a little bit off-piece, but Max Koeman, every time I've watched him for Wolves this season, has been sick. And apparently Gareth Southgate was watching him when they beat Everton 2-1. We need left-footed centre-halves in England, I'm telling you, and he might be a good solution. He's like a weird one because he played futsal and for Maidenhead until he was like 18, 19. So he's not actually played that much senior football.
Career.
But enough about Koundé then. Let's move on to Vlahovic. Henry, a man you rate very highly. Fiorentina want to part ways with him because he's refusing to sign a new contract and it looks like they're going to get mega bucks for him.
You love him, don't you?
Yeah, he's genuinely brilliant. And people say like, oh, Haaland's, why you could get him. There aren't many strikers nearly on the level with Haaland, really. You're looking at Lewandowski, Benzema, etc. This guy is genuinely...
So you don't think he's a Poundland Haaland? You think he's better than that? He doesn't deserve that moniker?
No, not at all. Listen, last season there was criticism that he was just scoring penalties. But his goal scoring rate at the moment is just absolutely fantastic. He's scoring all types of goals. I don't know if you saw they beat Sampdoria 3-1 this week, Fiorentina. And it's his header. It's like drilled at him pretty hard. And he's leaped up so high and almost behind him managed to head it down into the ground. It's one of the, technique-wise, one of the best headers you'll see this season. He's genuinely, I think he's got everything. And at his age...
What kind of striker is he? Is he a direct striker? Can he run in behind?
He's more of a classic number 9, but he's got pace and ability. I'd say he is fairly similar to Haaland. I don't think that's an unfair comparison, but he's just got that kind of no-nonsense mindset. When I am going to score. He's quite big and powerful. Him and Mitrovic up top for Serbia, they're going to be quite a handful at the World Cup.
Any way to work in Mitrovic, yeah.
But genuinely, I think any side should be looking at him. Apparently Juventus, like you said, want him. For Fiorentina's sake, if they sell him to Juventus, that's just shoot themselves.
The two best players, Chiesa's gone there now.
Fiorentina finally getting a bit of momentum under Vincenzo Italiano. If they go and sell their best player to Juventus, who are currently competing with them at the same level of the table, that is just criminal. I don't think that justifies 60 million. Seriously, if City can't get Haaland, if City are serious about getting in a proper centre forward, I think Vlahovic would be absolutely perfect.
When does his contract run out?
2023.
Okay. I feel like for them they just wait till summer. Like I don't understand this whole.
Yeah. Oh no, not mid-season.
Why are you going to sell in January? Like you can, if he continues to go at this rate, you'll probably still be getting the same amount in the summer, even if there is a year left on his contract rather than a year and a half. Like he's a guy that I think has also been linked to Spurs. Like a lot of the. I don't think he's currently being linked to a lot of the top tier clubs like the Bayern Munichs, the Manchester Cities, the.
It has been linked to Man City. Which is surprising because for me, his playing style doesn't totally suit Manchester City. But I feel like Fiorentina will be open to offers in the winter window, not desperate to accept them. But there's a few clubs that are panicking maybe about not getting Haaland. Vlahovic is viewed as the next best thing. Like, do Manchester City go back in for Harry Kane? Maybe not at this point, but is Vlahovic that sort of player? I think he's far more well-rounded. Of course, he's got years on him, 5 or 6 years, so that's understandable. But from the top-line numbers I've seen of Vlahovic's, doesn't really get that involved with build-up, which is a prerequisite at Manchester City. He is very good in the air, so maybe City can mix it up a little bit and he can maximise that like surplus of crosses he'd get from Torres, Foden. So maybe a striker in that sort of mould. Yeah, a lot of great like varied finishes, but no real like ferocious press at Fiorentina. So I don't want to say that like he is a 21-year-old can't press. His pressing numbers are fairly low, but I imagine
Fiorentina style is
pretty
essentially
passive, aren't they?
He did it with Spezia as well. It's just basically pump it long as quickly as possible and see what happens. Yeah.
And it's a role that he's clearly taken to. I think it would be more of a coup for Spurs if they got him. Yeah. It looks more likely that he's going to head to Juventus. They've already bid apparently £42.5 million. I think that is.
Gross.
I'm not sure.
Are Arsenal linked to him?
No, the agent, apparently they're refusing to take Arsenal's calls.
Yeah. Well, I sent this to you after actually, didn't I? That the agent Fiorentina's owner came out and said
his agent's been shopping him about.
His agent was like, if Arsenal or Juventus want him, don't talk to the agents, come to us, we own him. So whether there's a bit of beef going on there at the moment between club and agent is never the best sign. But obviously his agent's definitely the one going, do not sign a new contract.
Fiorentina's owners, I imagine he's not
Mr.
particularly easy to deal with either. So let's move on from that. He'll probably it feels, like you said, a little bit like saddening, but Juventus feels like his most likely
I
destination
feel like
at
the
the
owner
moment.
also said that he would never sell Chiesa to Juve.
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, up next is Dave Carabini's suggestion at Carabini_10, FD frequent contributor. And he's put Martial or Coutinho to Newcastle. Let's just dead Coutinho to Newcastle.
Can we dead anyone
right
to
now.
Newcastle?
Yeah.
Why would you go there? Like, I understand the money, but like theoretically, you're never going like. The finances won't work. The finances can't work, especially if they get relegated.
Yeah, no one of that caliber is going to go until their Premier League status is secured. And then in the
100%.
summer, if they're being offered stupid money, we can discuss it then. But what about like just taking Newcastle out of it and discussing Anthony Martial? Because he's an interesting one. What, 2 starts this season? Like in the league, another 3 sub-appearances. He's become the ghost of Old Trafford, hasn't he?
I don't know what he's doing. He just has to leave. It's as simple as that. Just go somewhere else. Go somewhere you can play football. Apparently, Lyon wanted him in the summer, and he said no. Stupid idiot. You should just. Obviously, there's money. You have, like how much he earns, etc.
Yeah.
He'll probably never earn the money he's on United again. But the reality is, he just needs to go play some football. If he goes to Lyon, look at what Memphis Depay did. Just go there, show what you can do. Go to a club like that, which will give you the respect and game time that he can deserve. Because when he plays well, he's in the French squad, a very competitive French squad. When he plays well, he is a very good footballer, but he hasn't really shown that for a while now. He should be taking the first opportunity to leave if he's got any kind of respect for his career. Because as we saw, like United, there's no promises for game time. They can say what they want. They told Jesse Lingard he was going to get lots of game time this year. They told Donny van der Beek that he was going to be an important guy this year. If you're a United player there, you've just got to really put yourself first. And
do you not think he might wait though and be like, this new guy's come in, maybe I can impress him?
I don't know if there's one style of play that Martial's probably not simpatico with.
Yeah,
it's like
very true.
A hell-bent on pressing game. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, to be honest. Like at 25 years old, minutes completely essential for him. It was 2 years ago now that he was United's top goal scorer. That momentum's petered out.
18 goals, I think it was. He got injured as well last year. He did get injured last year as well. That kind of dropped him out of the squad.
Yeah.
And that's where you saw a big rise for Greenwood too.
Sure, but he's not been given any sort of responsibility this term. And Rashford has been injured in large parts as well. So, yeah, I agree. Just get gone wherever. I mean, there's been rumours of Barcelona on loan as well. Manchester United might look upon that favourably if they get a good obligation to buy after 2 years or something, which might suit Barcelona as well.
This loan deal for Barca better come in, Jesus Christ.
It might just be the opportunity affords him a move to Barcelona at this time. He's done nothing to deserve a move to Barcelona. But okay then, Anthony Martial actually brings us to the end of our main segment. Before we move on to quick fire questions, I'm going to go through some top comments on our latest videos from you guys at home. I've got them on my phone here for reasons that I won't bore you with. On 10 players yet to justify their price tag, we had, how could I zoom in? Hassan saying, there's no way Harry Maguire is not on this list. Ironically, that is. Highest price tag in history for a defender. Do you think that Harry Maguire should be on 10 players yet to justify their price tag?
I think that's a pretty good shout.
Let's not out any of the writers here, please. That's,
that's a pretty good shout.
Privacy guaranteed on FD.
Harry definitely deserves to be on it.
And on transfer review on EFD, which we did with Damasio and
Max Bilish.
Yeah. All those sort of guys.
And,
it was a little one-off, wasn't it? We had Football Fanatics Talk comment, Kulishevsky would be a really good addition for Arsenal. His versatility would suit our rotation and ensure him plenty of minutes on the pitch. And Craig Keogh said, honestly, a fantastic video, lads. Great work. Great idea and great work. Good to see EFD getting good opportunities. You went and filmed that with Dukes, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it
went down a storm. Lovely.
What my favourite part of that was we asked Damasio what the biggest Italian transfer none of us are going to see coming, and he went for Diogo Dallo to Roma. That was
we appreciate it nonetheless. Right, let's move on to quickfire questions then. At Connor Evans has asked, is Neymar overrated? Don't know where this has come from.
No.
Maybe because he didn't feature very prominently in the Ballon d'Or list.
The Neymar debate just comes up every time PSG play in the Champions League.
He's not underrated.
He's rated.
He's amazing.
He's rated. Yeah,
that's that.
When Neymar's on his day, he's like one of the best players in the world.
Consistently,
Really
when he's playing, is like still the top dribbler in Europe's top 5 leagues.
People just love to hate on Neymar because he's
ridiculous.
He is a little bit of a dick.
Yeah,
but
sure.
like when you're that good and
he's the best player at PSG.
Fine.
Yeah.
What, over Lionel Messi?
Well, he's the most important player to PSG.
Interesting.
Sure, I guess.
What 6 games into Messi's career there?
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, you can probably still get away with that statement.
Considering the fact
Listen,
that
don't bring your Ronaldo agenda.
considering the fact that people thought he was going to leave and whatnot, and that he wasn't happy at PSG,
Signed a new
he's
contract.
actually he's actually so good for them. He's a real
Mate.
He gets injured. He's injured. He's a very injury prone.
Yeah, he's not played enough games to be like the definitive answer for most important player. That's still Mbappe, but how can your most important player be someone that's actively trying to go to Real Madrid?
He's the most committed.
At every given opportunity.
He is the most I'll give you that. He's the most committed.
I've changed my description. He's the best player.
Hey.
He's most important. He's most
Your Galacticos project is in trouble when Neymar is your most committed player as well. Let's move on to Koi's 292's quickfire question. Which squads are the worst suited for the busy Christmas schedule? I mean, Pep has said that, all right, chill out. Pep has said that City are going to struggle for this period, but he does tend to play down or play up injury woes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe Can we think of anyone else?
I think Chelsea, City are probably the most fine. Liverpool aren't too bad.
Maybe let's include the African Cup of Nations in this as well, because Arsenal were losing like Thomas
where
Partey.
things might get a little bit more difficult. Harvey Elliott's still not back for them. Is Curtis Jones back for Liverpool yet?
And you're saying because Salah and
Mane will go to the African Cup of Nations.
Good job, Diego.
And you'd think as well they'd probably go quite far as well. I mean, they'd be there for longer.
We're going to see Diego Jota and Firmino in the same lineup. They'll be fun.
I think we're seeing that teams like Leeds that are high energy, they're really struggling this season to maintain the pace. I think teams like that really work incredibly hard off the ball
And got a small squad. Leeds.
Yeah, and I think Liverpool could struggle a little bit more than people
anticipate.
Yeah, because really, Origi coming in, etc. It's not incredible to having
especially with how good Salah is at the moment. Like, not to say Liverpool aren't creating opportunities without Salah, but
in the season,
he's involved in everything, isn't he?
In the season that Salah could break Henry's record, also on 13 goals,
he's going to miss
at the moment. He's going to miss it. Right, okay, let's round off the show then with a personal question, and this comes from the person that asked the headline question. So it's double delight for @Rash RRRR, and he's asked, "What is your biggest OCD?"
I don't really.
Do you have obsessive compulsive traits, either of you?
Don't have it like an actual disorder. Like,
I've got one.
Some of them are quite like I've read stories about people that have it like badly.
Yeah, not bad, not like clinical. But
course.
you know, if I spot a spelling mistake that I've made on like WhatsApp, even if it's a week ago, I will have to correct myself. I will like quote that WhatsApp thing and put said spelling correction in because I'm like I can't leave that there unchecked.
There's nothing that springs. I know I definitely have like little things where I'm just like don't do that. Or, like, make sure
just salute magpies.
No.
Do you avoid?
I'm not a weirdo like
walking
that.
on 3.
Oh, I'll happily walk across 3 drains
in a row.
Step on a crap. My mother's back. It's all right. It's fine.
I have to make my bed in the morning. I get really.
But that's just like
you're in the fucking Marines. What's that about?
Oh yeah. Everyone makes their bed.
You know, growing up watching sport, if I vocalised my support for one of the teams on TV, I used to think that was like give the other team.
But that's like superstitions, right?
Oh yeah,
that's more superstitions. I mean,
that's pretty similar. We're in the same sort of genre. Do you have superstition for football?
Whenever I've played in goal, I'd always like tap both corners of the goal and then hang off the goalpost for like before kickoff.
Really?
I've done that before.
Goalkeepers are a bit weird. I would never bet on the team I support.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the kind of similar vibes to what I'm saying. You don't want to like put all your weight on something like that in case it all goes wrong.
Yeah, like Celtic playing in the Champions League, I could double down on them losing. You know.
There was a point I refused.
But I won't bet on that.
There was a point where I still went, but I like really contemplated about going to watch Chelsea games. Because I'd gone to about like 11 Chelsea games and never seen us win.
Oh wow!
And I was like, it's got to be me. And then I went to the final and won. I was like, maybe it's only in England.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only when I watch them in England.
Yeah, that's niche. I'm a curse to Chelsea, but only on English shores.
I can't sleep unless my window is slightly open.
That's
one.
Yes.
That's developed quite late on in my life.
But do you not also just enjoy, like, I enjoy waking up and it being a bit like quite fresh in my room?
Yeah, but I get like paranoid if I'm in bed and if I can't sleep and the window's shut. I don't even know if it makes any difference, but I'll open it a little bit. I'm suddenly like,
I have a thing where I go to bed wearing socks.
That's so.
But I take them off whilst I'm in bed after like trying to sleep for about 10 minutes because I realise I can't fall asleep with socks on. But I do it every night. because I don't know why.
I don't know if that's an OCD. That's just weird. I mean,
Maybe
that's
weird,
just
Just
maybe
lazy. Just look
pure-
at his
pure
feet.
laziness,
They're
yeah.
so far away. I just
No,
can't be bothered.
I know, but I've got a weird thing. Like I've got a very weird thing with feet. I don't like feet at all. I don't know. I feel like there's a few that I'm missing, but I just can't. It's very much in the moment where I'm just like, oh, can we make sure? Like I'm not like Sonny's got a thing where has to be on the TV volume. Has to be on multiples of 5.
Yeah, okay.
Only if it's
Yeah,
20,
that's quite
25,
common,
30.
isn't it? Yeah.
Whereas I'm just like, oh, I don't just fucking put it to 2027, doesn't matter. But it has to be on multiples of 5. Yeah, I feel like it's.
But he went to TalkSport anyway, so traitor. I'm gonna blank all that out in the edit. Sonny who? Yeah. That's the end of the show.
Oh, good show.
So yeah, thank you very much.
Well done, Henners.
Yeah, thank you very much for stepping in,
you.
boys. Because the show wouldn't have happened if these boys didn't step in and make their way down to South London to film this on a very gloomy, cold day. Shout out to James Wayne behind the screen. Behind the screen? We don't have a screen up. This isn't a COVID-friendly shoot. Yes, it is, Sky.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to James Wayne behind the camera. Got over 3 days of illness to come and film this as well. So, big team effort. What else have the team produced this week? What we plug in, Zach?
Well, make sure if you haven't already, check out my Ruben Loftus-Cheek interview. It was very, very good. We talked a bunch about how Thomas Tuchel has helped him in his new position for Chelsea. And other content such as that on the channel.
Very
Team
good.
Talk. Always check out Team Talk.
Seamless.
Hopefully do a new one soon.
Yeah. What about you, Hennes?
Got a EFD explained on hooliganism in French football in the edit, saying hooliganism over and over again really got to me. I had to stop and say it so many times.
Did it become that thing where like you don't know whether you're saying the word right?
Hooliganism. I got to the point where I was losing my mind. But please watch it. I almost killed me making that script.
VO's honestly given me a rage like nothing else sometimes.
It is, yeah. I couldn't say suggest earlier. Just being suggest. And
then you're like, I think it's because my tongue's too big for my mouth.
I definitely have a little bit of a lisp, I've realised, because of VOs. Where I'm just like, I can't say words at times.
Honestly,
I'm like, what's
it's
happening?
Right.
But yeah, please watch the hooligan video because it really took me ages. So yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. We'll put it on screen right now, perhaps. And, before we do a hard exit, do want to say thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring Sunday Vibes for another week. And if you want to get 20% off of their products ahead of the Christmas festival, more like, then use our code on screen now. You get free shipping as well. Check out the link in the description for more details. You said you enjoyed the nose hair trimmer.
Genuinely, I always thought they were ridiculous until I started using it. I don't know if it's the sensation.
Can you breathe your nose better now?
Yeah.
Really?
No, genuinely, it's become like a little ritual.
Little
So,
I think
I
you've got any
kind of
nose
rate
hairs.
it.
Men in your mid to late 20s, it will happen. It will happen to you as well. So just get one ahead of time. Like this video, subscribe to the channel with notifications on, and we'll see you on next week's Sunday Vibes. Bye.